A well-designed monogram can confer a sense of pedigree and history on your brand. I'm going to demonstrate three approaches: fusing letters together, deleting a part of a letter and using negative space to infer the missing part, and interlocking letters. In all cases, I'm beginning with the letters already converted to outlines. And then once I did that, I ungrouped so that I can select the individual letters. Let's start out with the fusing of two characters together. When I select this S and move it back onto the R, essentially what I want to do next is use Pathfinder to combine the two together, Pathfinder or Shape Builder. But actually, it's a bit more complicated than that. I'm going to look at the outline view. That's going to help me get a closer match. The two letters are too tight at the top, so I want to just extend the bottom left of the S. I'm going to hold down my Shift key, swipe over the bottom few anchor points with my direct selection tool, and move that slightly to the left. Now, when I select the whole letter and move this back, and I'm going to zoom in again, get as close as I can, that is about as close a match as I can get. I'll now come and choose my Shape Builder. Before I do so, I'll select both letters, my Shape Builder, and I want to be able to knock out just that shape right there. But you can see that when I do so, it's leaking into the larger shape. So I will come and get my direct selection tool and select that anchor point and move that down just a fraction. Having done that, I can now get to just that bit by itself. I'll hold down Option or Alt and click on that to subtract it. And then continuing with the Shape Builder, I'll fuse those two letters together. In doing this, you may find that you end up with a few bumps along the way. So to fix those, come and choose your pen tools. Now I've got an extra anchor point here that I don't really need. I'm going to delete that one. I might delete that one too. And let's say I'll delete that one. And then I'm just going to smooth this one out with my anchor point tool. And I'm keeping my anchor point perpendicular wherever possible, holding down the Shift key. And that's just going to keep that point nice and smooth. Let's now zoom out. And I didn't do such a great job on it. So let's come back and just fix that up a little bit more. Basically, where they join, you are going to have to do a little bit of nipping and tucking. So now I'll switch back to preview, and it still looks a little bit bumpy there, but with some more work, I could smooth that out. So now in the second example, I want to use negative space to infer the missing part of the letter. And obviously, if you've seen the fantastic V&A logo designed by Alan Fletcher, you can see where my influence is coming from. I'm going to get the eraser tool. I'm going to begin with the eraser tool, and I'm doing this because the A is a compound path, and it needs to be a compound path because of the interior counter space, and that can create some problems. And I found that if I start out like this with the eraser and just roughly erase the parts of the letters that we don't want, I will then come and get my line tool. I'm going to draw a line like so, continuing the angle diagonally there, and the same thing right there. And then with the selection tool, I'll select the letter and those two lines, come to my Pathfinder and divide. Now my direct selection tool, I can select that bit and delete it, and that bit and delete it. And I've still got a little bit left down there. Let's just come and draw a rectangle over that, select that and the letter itself, and we will use the Shape Builder to swipe over both of those. And now I can move that in closer to the Y. Thirdly, let's look at interlocking characters. I'll get the O and I'll create some sort of interlocking arrangement like this. Obviously, we need to be working with some colors here. So we'll have a dark blue for one and a lighter blue for the other. And I could use divide again here, but instead I'm going to use live paint just because, as its name suggests, it remains live and I can change the interaction of the two letters. So with them both selected, I'll come and choose my live paint bucket. And I just need to click on the group to make it into a live paint group, and then click on that particular segment, and that particular segment wants to be in the dark blue. So now we can see that we've got this nice interlocking effect. And here's the punchline with the live paint. We can drill down and we can select the elements that make up that group, and we can move them around, and the interlocking remains live. So there are 3 different approaches to creating a monogram.